We've received quite a bit of interest in my Free to Be workshop, so to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop, and we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. If you spend much time at all with a narcissistic individual, it doesn't take much to figure out that they have lots of rules and regulations that they want to superimpose on you. They have a very strong agenda, and they're not very secretive about letting you know what that agenda is. You're supposed to behave in such a way that makes them feel better about themselves. Now, I want to see if I can help you understand how to read their regulatory communication toward you. And I want you to recognize that in so many instances, their regulations reflect a form of projection. They're wanting to see in you or superimpose on you psychic tension that they have not come to terms with on the inside of themselves. And so one of the most intriguing ways to understand a narcissist and their projection is to take the very rules that they have for you and flip it around and see how they would respond if the shoe was on the other foot. Let me give you an idea. I'm going to give you the first rule that they might have for you and show you what I'm talking about here. For example, a narcissist can say to you, "You need to apologize to me, but I don't have to apologize to you." You ever been exposed to something like that? Let's turn that around. Let's suppose that you are talking to the narcissist and you say the exact same thing in reverse. "Well, I think you need to apologize to me and I don't have to apologize to you." Now, you know what they'll do? They'll say, that's not the way it works around here, because that's not fair if you were to take that kind of mindset. You see, they want you to apologize and they don't want to have to be in that same position in reverse, because somewhere deep down inside, they feel wounded. They feel like they've been victimized, and whenever you run counter to their way of thinking and doing, that thought is triggered on the inside. My hurt is unfinished on the inside, so you have to apologize to me. And so if you say, "Well, why don't you do the same in reverse?" then it's their way of claiming, and they refuse to do that, it's their way of claiming exclusivity. It's like, "No, I'm unique, I'm different. What applies to you and all of your garbage doesn't apply to me," when in fact it's actually a driving force. Do you see how that works? Or let me give you another illustration. This is the second one. Let's suppose that the narcissist explains the rule that says, "You're required to keep your opinions to yourself. My voice is the one that needs to predominate." Okay, let's say that you flip that around and you say to the narcissist, "No, from here on out, you need to keep your opinions to yourself and my voice needs to be the one that predominates." And again, they're going to say, who came up with that? You can't do that to me. Where did that come from? How did they learn to think that way? Well, at some point in their life, they learned the lesson that the one who roars the loudest, or the one who's more stubborn, or the one who's more forceful wins. And that's what they're trying to do. But then if you try to say, "Well, that's what I want to do back toward you," they'll say, "But that's not a fair thing." And it's like, right, somewhere deep down on the inside of your psyche, you became very uncomfortable with that kind of thinking. But rather than developing an empathy, you just decided, "Well, I'll just take the rule and make it my own. And rather than dealing with my own internal strain and stress, we'll just make a rule and I'll be happy that way." That's part of their projection. Or how about another one? Have you ever been in a situation where the narcissist might imply, "I get to mock you, but you can't mock me"? I've had so many illustrations where people will tell me that, if you tell a joke at a narcissist's expense, they can get so deeply thin-skinned, or if you just kind of tease them about something, sometimes they just can't take it. Now, they can call you names and they can say all sorts of ugly things about you, but you can't do the same in reverse. So if you say, "Well, no, I get to mock you, but you can't mock me," it's like, no, that's not part of the equation. Well, where did you learn to think that way? And at some point, they began realizing, well, the mocker wins, the mockee is the loser, and I can't be the loser. I've had too much of my fair share or fear of that. And so they're projecting onto you a tension that they have not come to terms with from their own deep history. That's how it works. Now, you see that as I'm going through these illustrations, you can begin realizing if you take the very things that they apply to you and then try to apply it to themselves, immediately it exposes the fact that there's a lot of strain on the inside that they have not learned how to personally come to terms with. Let me give you another one. Let's suppose that you say, I demand your loyalty. But then I don't really have to give you a whole lot of loyalty in reverse. So that's the way the narcissist thinks toward you. And so you turn it around and say, well, I demand you to be loyal to me, and I don't have to do the same in reverse. Now that narcissist is going to say, that's not the way it works. Well, then why are you superimposing that onto me? Where did that come from? And once again, their demand, their rules reflects an internal tension that they have not come to terms with from their deep history. And so they're superimposing it onto you, but rather than saying, I guess I need to think about why I think that way, they can't do that. Let me give you another illustration. Let's suppose that the narcissist implies, I expect to be lauded for my achievements and accomplishments. Okay, that's fine and dandy. And then you turn around and say, well, I expect to be lauded for my achievements and accomplishments. Come on, bring it on. And the narcissist is going to imply, I don't want to have to do that. Let's just look at me and what's important about me. So when we turn the tables, why is that so difficult for you? And the answer, once again, is their need for the pats on the back and the proud, accomplished, atta-girls or atta-boys, those kind of comments. They have such a hunger for that, so to the extent that they can't turn around and give it to you because they're afraid that somehow or another negates them. There's an internal tension that represents. Or how about another one? You need to be excited about my favorite interests or pastimes, but I don't really have to be excited about yours. I've had so many people talk about, my living partner or a family member. They want to go on and on about all the things that they're interested in, but they never ask me about mine. Well, let's suppose you turn the tables on that one and you say, no, I want you to be excited about all the things that I'm interested in, and I don't have to really have any interest in you. And they'll look, it's like, I don't do things like that. And yet they want to do that to you. Well, again, where did this need to feel special and extra unique and all of that come from? There's some sort of unfinished business that they want to put onto you, but in fact, it's so strong that they're unable to empathize with the fact that maybe some other folks want to have a similar kind of experience of having shared excitement with one another. That's how it works, but in their projection, they can't see what that represents from the inside. Or another one, this is a one that you hear very commonly. The narcissist can say to you, stop being defensive, listen to me. Okay, so let's say you're in a heated dispute. Well, what if you were to say to the narcissist, stop being defensive and listen to me? It's like, no, I don't want to listen to you. If you're doing it, it's defensive. If I'm doing it, well, it just means I'm trying to tell you how things ought to be. They can't go into their space of their own defensiveness. They want you to adjust, but they can't do it within themselves. Why is that? And it's like, I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want to have to look internally at what all that represents. Or how about if I throw out just one more? And that is, the narcissist may imply, well, if I explode toward you and get angry, then it's because it's there for a good reason. Well, let's suppose you say to the narcissist, well, if I explode toward you and I feel angry, well, it's there for a good reason. They're going to say, no, it's not. Okay, so what's good for you is not good for the other. And once again, it's like, no, I have anger, which comes from a place of hurt and disillusionment typically. You're not allowed to have that because, you see, I haven't finished what's going on inside of me. Now, we call all of this narcissistic projection. And I've given you several illustrations, and frankly, I could sit here and go on and on about many other kind of illustrations, and you can fill in the blank yourself. But I want you to see that narcissists will call you out for defects, or they'll have all sorts of regulations toward you when in fact they're a part of their own subconscious denial of some of the very strains and tensions on the inside of themselves that they have not come to terms with. The biggest problem you have in dealing with these individuals is they show no insight to what I'm saying here. They'll just say, no, that's not the reason. I mean, if you turn it on me, it's just because I'm unique, I'm special, but I can do it to you. No insight whatsoever that maybe they're sitting on a powder keg of psychological tension. So let's keep in mind, when they have their arbitrary rules that they want to superimpose upon you, it's there for a reason. And it's their way of trying to work out some of the difficulties that they have not been able to sift through very cleanly in their own personal lives. But they're more or less implying, if I can make you act right, then I'll finally be okay from the inside out. That's the only thing that matters to me. But if you turn the tables and say, well, let's look at that. It's like, no, I don't want to look at that. I'm putting you in charge of making me feel good. That's all that matters. So that being the case, again, I go back and say they don't have good insight. Don't buy into all of these rules and regulations as if they're trying to make you out to be some sort of a bad person that you're not. Basically, their projection of their unfinished business onto you is its own form of gaslighting. You want to hold on to the notion that says, I'm on Team Healthy, and I'm comfortable living according to my own self-directed ideas and plans. And if somebody has their own unfinished business that they're trying to put into my basket, no thanks, I'm putting a lid on that basket. I'm not receiving someone else's emotional garbage as if somehow or another I'm supposed to make it magically disappear. I do hope that videos such as this give you something to think about and some insight to build upon. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button. And when that subscribe button comes up, you may see a notification. I know some of you have not received all the notifications, but hit that bell and get the notifications. In addition, we now have a membership that you can subscribe to. It's a monthly fee, and it's only $7, and allows you to get into some private feeds that we're going to be doing with Q&A kind of things and all like that. There's a link that you can go to that'll explain all of that, but you might want to look into that. In addition, if you have a need to seek counseling from someone, we have a sponsor that we greatly trust. There's a link below for online counseling. We've received good feedback, and certainly it might be apropos for you to try to have somebody help you sort all that out. We have our workshops, specifically my Free to Be video workshop course, and we put a whole lot of work into it, and it's very extensive, and it takes a while to work your way through it, but it's one where we try to walk you through all sorts of issues that might help you learn to find who you are. In addition, we also have our websites, survivingnarcissism.tv, drlescarter.com, links below to books. We have lots of stuff down there. Understand that narcissists are game players, but they're game players for a reason. They're unfinished products, and they're trying to put their unfinished business onto you. Once you're able to see it, then I'm hoping it gives you that permission to say, I need to go ahead and give my energy on to being my own separate person. I'd like to join as a team player, but if you're not going to be a team player, I'm going to stay steady and I'm going to stay on my path because I'm headed towards my place of peace.